Your smart TV might be spying on you. AI is learning from your selfies. Your phone's tracking you, even with GPS off. Free apps? You're the product. Welcome to TFC, Tech and Finance Code. In today's video, we're diving deep into secrets of the tech, science, and digital world. These are facts and truths that often go unnoticed, but have significant implications on our daily lives. Stay tuned as we unravel these hidden facets of our digital existence. Your phone can be tracked even with location services off. We all assume that when we turn off the GPS or location services on our smartphones, we become invisible, off the grid. But that's far from the truth. Even with GPS turned off, your phone is still emitting data that can be used to track your movements. How? Through a combination of your phone's Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cell tower pings, and even motion sensors like the gyroscope and accelerometer. A study by researchers at Princeton University showed that motion sensor data could be combined with Wi-Fi, hotspots, and cell tower proximity to accurately trace a user's location. These sensors are often accessible to apps without needing explicit permissions. Imagine walking through a mall. Your phone connects to various Wi-Fi networks, even if it doesn't log in. These passive signals can be collected and analyzed to understand not just where you are, but how fast you're moving, which direction you're heading, and even what stores you're passing by. And it's not just hackers. Advertising companies, app developers, and even governments have used this data for tracking purposes. Google and Apple have both faced scrutiny in the past for continuing to collect location data, even after users opted out. In 2018, an Associated Press investigation found that many Google apps stored time-stamped location data even when location history was turned off. So, what's the takeaway? If privacy is important to you, it's not enough to turn off your GPS. You need to disable Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and mobile data, and even that's not foolproof. Your best bet is to be mindful of the apps you install, the permissions you grant, and the data trails you leave behind. Because in today's hyper-connected world, being truly invisible requires more than just flipping a switch. Ultrasonic beacons are listening. Here's a tech secret that borders on science fiction. Some apps are secretly using ultrasonic sound waves to track you across devices. These are called ultrasonic beacons, and they operate above the range of human hearing. Your phone's microphone can pick them up, even if you don't hear a thing. These beacons are usually embedded in TV ads, websites, or even store speakers. When your device picks up the signal, it can trigger an action, like identifying you across devices, unlocking hidden content, or tracking your location. In 2017, researchers at the Technical University of Braunschweig in Germany discovered over 200 Android apps using this tech. One major app was even sending ultrasonic signals to nearby phones, just to track which ads had been watched on TV. Think about it. You're watching TV, and your phone picks up a signal to link your activity across platforms without your consent. Even though Google later removed many of these apps from the Play Store, the threat remains. Because ultrasonic beacons don't require traditional internet connections or visible cues, they're hard to detect. And because your microphone is constantly listening in for commands like "Hey Siri" or "OK Google," it's always vulnerable to being used for more than you think. To protect yourself, check your app permissions regularly. If a flashlight app wants microphone access, ask why. Turn off microphone access for apps that don't need it, and consider using antivirus or privacy dash. Focused apps that scan for beacon activity. The truth is, as more devices become part of our everyday environment, the idea of ultrasonic tracking is only becoming more sophisticated and more hidden. The age of silent surveillance is already here. Free apps often share your data. We all love free apps. Games, weather, filters, productivity tools, all at our fingertips, no cost. What many users don't realize, if you're not paying with money, you're likely paying with data. According to a study published by the Washington Post, over 55% of popular free apps share user data with third companies, including advertisers, analytics firms, and in some cases, data brokers. The terms and conditions you scroll past, that's where they legally get your permission. Take, for example, a basic weather app. It might ask for your location, access to storage, and permission to run in the background. Why would a weather app need all that? Because it's collecting information like your location history, how often you open the app, and which ads you interact with. That data is then bundled and sold, often without your knowledge. Even worse, these apps don't just sell your data. They aggregate and cross-reference it with others to build detailed behavioral profiles. Companies can learn your habits, your preferences, and even predict what you're likely to buy next. Apps like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram have all been under scrutiny for their aggressive data practices. In fact, in 2022, TikTok admitted that employees in China had access to US user data, raising serious national security concerns. So, what can you do? Limit the number of apps you install. Review the permissions they request. Use alternatives like browser versions of services that don't require as many permissions. Remember, free apps are rarely truly free. You're the product. AI models are trained on your social media posts. Every time you post a photo, a comment, or a tweet, it could be feeding a machine learning model. That's right, many large AI models are trained using publicly available social media data. Your vacation selfies, memes, tweets, captions, if posted publicly, can be used in training data to teach AI how to understand language, recognize faces, generate responses, and even mimic human behavior. Meta recently updated its policy stating that it uses publicly available posts from Instagram and Facebook to train its AI models. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, used publicly available internet text, forums like Reddit, and more to train its language models. Now, this raises a few questions. First, is this legal? Mostly yes, if the data is public. But is it ethical? That's where the debate starts. What if your old tweets, now irrelevant or misunderstood, training an AI chatbot that millions will use? What if your pictures are used to help train facial recognition systems without your consent? The implications are vast. Your digital footprint doesn't just follow you, it can teach machines to behave more like you. This could affect AI-generated content, chatbot responses, or even deepfake accuracy. To limit your data being used this way, consider making your accounts private or using platforms with stricter privacy protections. And remember, on the internet, nothing is ever truly deleted. What you post today might teach AI how to act tomorrow. Siri may be listening, even when you don't trigger it. Have you ever had a conversation and then suddenly your phone shows you an ad for something you just mentioned? That creepy moment might be more than coincidence. Smart assistants like Siri, Alexa, and Google Assistant are designed to listen constantly, waiting for a wake word like, "Hey Siri." But they don't just discard what they hear before that. They temporarily store short recordings to check for that trigger. In 2019, Apple admitted that a portion of Siri recordings were being reviewed by human contractors to improve voice recognition. What they didn't disclose up front was that private conversations, including medical discussions, intimate moments, and even criminal activity, were being listened to by reviewers. Apple eventually apologized and updated its policies. Now, they say they only review recordings from users who opt in. But here's the catch. These systems still store and analyze brief audio snippets by default, and many users don't know this setting even exists. To stop Siri from potentially listening when you don't want it to, go to Settings and search Siri and turn off Listen for Hey Siri. And while you're at it, review the permissions for all your voice assistants, because once your voice is in the system, it might not be yours anymore. Battery status can be used to track you online. This one sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Your phone's battery status, yes, the percentage of charge, is being used by websites to track you across the web. This trick, discovered by security researchers, is called battery fingerprinting. Here's how it works. Websites use something called the Battery Status API, which gives them access to your current battery level, whether you're charging or not, and how much time remains until full drain. Alone, this data might seem harmless, but when combined with other signals, like your IP address, screen resolution, and browser version, it helps uniquely identify your device, even if you're in incognito or using a VPN. Why would anyone want to do that? Because it helps companies and advertisers link your activity across websites, even if you're doing everything right to remain anonymous. Some websites even adjust the way ads are served depending on whether your phone has low battery, thinking you're more likely to make impulsive decisions. The worst part? There's no permission request. Your browser allows this data to be shared by default. The good news, many browsers like Firefox and Safari now block this API by default. If you're using Chrome, consider using privacy extensions or switching to a browser that prioritizes user protection. Smart TVs may be listening, even when they're off. Your television might be smarter than you think, and not in a good way. Many smart TVs especially, models from brands like Samsung, LG, and Vizio, have been found to contain always-on microphones and data collection software that can record ambient audio, even when you're not actively using voice features. A few years ago, Samsung updated its privacy policy to explicitly state that voice data, including sensitive or personal content, may be transmitted to third parties if voice recognition is enabled. People began to realize their living rooms weren't just places for entertainment. They were being turned into surveillance hubs. And it's not just the mic. Smart TVs also track what you watch through a system called ACR, Automatic Content Recognition. This tech scans the pixels on your screen to identify every show, ad, or movie you're watching, even if it's from a cable box or USB drive. That data is then sold to marketers who tailor ads across your other devices. Your TV is watching you. To reduce this, disable ACR in your settings, mute voice, voice recognition and consider using dumb TVs or streaming devices with stricter privacy controls. You bought the TV to watch it, not to be watched by it. Facial recognition is already part of your daily life. Facial recognition used to feel like something out of a spy movie, but today it's built into your phone, your security systems, your airport check-ins, and it's watching you in ways you probably don't expect. Cities like London, New York, and Beijing have deployed facial recognition cameras on public streets. In China, entire shopping malls use it to track customer behavior, serve personalized ads, or even rate people's moods. Some airlines now use facial scans instead of boarding passes, and even social media platforms have experimented with facial data to auto-tag friends or detect fake accounts. The technology isn't inherently bad. It can help with security, missing persons, and more, but it also opens doors for mass surveillance and profiling. Some US cities have even banned facial recognition, used by police due to privacy concerns. Facial recognition is convenient, but it's also powerful and potentially dangerous. Be cautious about where you use it and what platforms you allow to scan your face. And there you have it, science and digital world secrets that most people have never heard about. If this video opened your eyes, make sure to subscribe to TFC, Tech and Finance Code for more mind-blowing truths every single week. Stay curious, stay informed,